Have you ever wondered about the role of prayer in your life? It's not just a ritual or a tradition, but a profound act of communication, a dialogue with the divine. It's a source of comfort and solace, a refuge from the storms of life. It serves as a guiding light when we are lost, a beacon that illuminates our path, showing us the way forward. And it's a wellspring of strength, a reservoir of courage and resilience we can draw upon in times of trials and tribulations. Prayer isn't confined to any particular religion or faith. It's a universal language, a shared human experience that transcends borders and boundaries. It's a conversation that anyone, anywhere can engage in, regardless of their beliefs or cultural background. So, let's delve deeper. Let's explore some incredible stories from people who have experienced the transformative power of prayer and see how it can shape, mold, and utterly transform our lives. Our first testimonial comes from Jane, who found peace amidst chaos through prayer. Imagine a time in your life when everything seems to be spiraling out of control, each moment filled with uncertainty and stress. That's where Jane found herself not too long ago. Her world was in turmoil, her heart heavy with worry. But in those moments of despair, Jane turned to prayer. She didn't pray for miracles, nor did she ask for her problems to simply disappear. Instead, Jane sought comfort, a sense of calm to weather the storm. It was in the quiet whispers of her prayers that she found solace. With each word, each plea sent up to the heavens, her heart grew lighter, her spirit stronger. Jane began to incorporate prayer into her daily life, turning to it not only in times of distress but also in moments of peace. It became a constant, a beacon of tranquility in her life. Her prayers were not always answered in the way she expected, but she found that they didn't need to be. The comfort she received was not from the resolution of her problems, but rather from the act of prayer itself. It was the stillness, the quiet moments spent in sincere conversation with her faith that brought her calm. Prayer became her sanctuary, a place where she could lay down her burdens and find rest. Jane's peace was found in the quiet moments of prayer, showing us the calming power it can hold. Meet John, a man who discovered his life's direction through prayer. John, like many of us, found himself at a crossroads in life. He was unsure about his career, his relationships, and his purpose. He felt lost, like a ship adrift in a vast, unending sea. But instead of succumbing to despair, John turned to prayer. In the quiet solitude of his thoughts, John sought guidance. He didn't just pray for answers, he prayed for wisdom. He prayed for the discernment to recognize the right path when it appeared before him. And as he poured out his heart, he felt an overwhelming sense of peace envelop him. It was as if a gentle voice was whispering, guiding him towards the light at the end of the tunnel. John's prayers began to shape his decisions. He found clarity in the stillness, answers in the silence. He started making choices that reflected his innermost desires and authentic self. He pursued a career that fulfilled him, built relationships that enriched him, and discovered a purpose that drove him. Prayer became John's guiding light. It illuminated his path, dispelled his doubts, and anchored his life. Every time he felt lost, he found his way back through prayer. Every time he felt unsure, he found certainty in the quiet dialogue with his faith. John's story serves as a reminder that prayer can often guide us when we feel lost. It's not just about asking for what we want, but seeking the wisdom to understand what we truly need. And isn't that a powerful testament to the transformative effect of prayer? Now, let's hear from Lisa, who drew strength from prayer during her toughest times. Lisa, like many of us, has faced moments in her life when she felt weak, overwhelmed, and unsure. She walked through the valley of shadows, where the light seemed dim and the road ahead unclear. But what stood as her armor in these times of vulnerability was the power of prayer. In her darkest hours, Lisa turned to prayer, not as a last resort, but as a first response. She sought solace, not in the fleeting comfort of the world, but in the eternal refuge of her faith. As she knelt down in submission, she felt a surge of strength coursing through her veins, a strength not of her own, but one that transcends human understanding. Lisa shares that each prayer she whispered was a beacon that pierced through her gloom, illuminating her path. When she felt like crumbling under the weight of her trials, it was prayer that held her up. It gave her the courage to face her difficulties, the resilience to endure, and the hope to keep moving forward. In her weakness, Lisa found her strength. In her despair, she found hope. All through the transformative power of prayer. She discovered that prayer isn't merely a call for help, it's a declaration of trust, a testament of faith, and an act of surrender to a power much greater than our own. Lisa's experience shows us that prayer can be a great source of strength when we need it the most. Having heard these amazing stories, you might be wondering, how can I incorporate prayer into my daily routine? Well, it's simpler than you might think. First things first, find a quiet place. It could be a corner of your room, your garden, or even a park. Somewhere you can be alone with your thoughts, undisturbed. This is your sanctuary, a place where you can speak from your heart and listen for God's voice. Next, set a regular time for prayer. Maybe it's first thing in the morning to set a positive tone for the day. Or perhaps it's in the evening, a moment to reflect and find peace before you sleep. It could even be both. The important thing is to make it a habit, just like brushing your teeth or having your meals. Consistency is key. There will be days when you don't feel like it, when the world seems too much, too loud. On those days, pray anyway. Even a few words, a simple "thank you" or "help me," can make a world of difference. And lastly, don't worry about the length of your prayers. It's not about how many words you say, but the sincerity behind them. It's about opening your heart to God, leaning on His strength, and trusting in His love. Remember, it's not about how long or how often you pray, but the sincerity and faith behind it. So start today and experience the power of prayer in your own life.